Good evening. My name is Cara Thicke and I'm honored to serve as co-chair of this gala. I was introduced to Christodora through a friend who was running the New York City Marathon on their behalf. I started attending other Christodora fundraisers and learned about their camp in the Berkshires, as well as their incredible programs throughout the school year. Incorporating an environmental education into the curriculum of New York City public schools is critical, and it's something Christodora has known for 123 years. This pandemic has highlighted the need for a human connection to nature and to each other. When Governor Cuomo issued the stay-at-home order back in March due to the pandemic, parks and playgrounds were closed. Many families panicked, wondering what they would do if they couldn't enjoy the outdoors. Tonight, you will hear how Christodora jumped into action and seamlessly adapted their plans to be there for the community. Christodora is a small organization with a huge impact, and once you are introduced to their life-changing programs, you're hooked.
I'm Hunter Brashears, this year's co-chair of Christodora's Campfire. What's a guy from Arkansas doing talking about kids from New York City? Well, I'll tell you, my wife Virginia got involved 3 years ago running the New York Half in support of Christodora. We had the opportunity to meet some of the Christodora students, and they blew our socks off with their knowledge of the environment and nature, and the bonus was their leadership skills. I'm so excited to be part of this organization, and I think you will be too.
Hey. Sorry, I was in the bathroom. This zooming from home is so crazy. I almost missed this, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm slumming here in the Hamptons, as you can see, and I've been zooming for so long that I'm only dressing from the top up. I mean, I don't even bother with what's going on down there. Anyway, just so you know, so you can have the visual. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Leguizamo, L as in lover, E as in egotistical, G as I gotcha, and Leguizamo. So most people don't even know me. If you don't know me, I'm the love child of Arnold Schwarzenegger and his Latin nanny. Yes. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. I wish I was. Or maybe not. I mean, I don't even know what happened to that kid. Remember that kid? He could have benefited from the Christodora program. That's for sure. Anyway, but seriously, I'm so excited to be your host tonight because Spike Lee once told me, he said, John, never speak longer than you can make love. So I'm going to keep this very brief. Okay? I'm glad I finally can share with you my excitement about Christodora. I've been a very big fan for a long, long time now, and I finally got the chance to help out and to give back to this wonderful organization. And Christodora has been there for New York kids from low income, high need, and underserved neighborhoods since 1897. 1897, that's 123 years. Nothing has been going on that long and that good. Okay, yo? Get that straight. But since the 60s, they started focusing on just being in nature, and have created a very tightly knit community where you can grow over the years from being a student to becoming an involved citizen. And they've learned that all a kid needs to succeed in life is the opportunity to realize that they can dream, that they can explore, that they can learn, that they can take positive risks, which is one of the most important factors in success. So they can rewrite the story of their own lives. Now, tonight, we're going to share some campfire stories, some beautiful testimonials from the kids themselves, the teachers, the alumni, and you're going to hear the amazing ways that Christodora creates this magic. Now, from fun science home classes inside our public schools to getting the kids outside into our city parks, and at Christodora's amazing wilderness program in the Berkshires, and at the Manus Education Center, where they can do this year after year after year. Now, this is an amazing fact, but more than half of the staff are alumni who've gone through the program, who've grown up through the program. It's like they can project themselves into the future and all the possibilities that they can create here. So let's hear it from one of our friends. First, we have Dr. Cynthia Mondazire, an alum from Christodora who's now a pediatrician. And you'll see why. And you'll see why nature is the best medicine. Take it away.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Cindy Mondazire. I'm a pediatrician up in Potsdam, New York. I'm excited to gather with you all this evening as a former Manus Education Center student, as well as a former educator there. We learned some valuable lessons together while we were at Manus, and one of the three that are vital to us as people is that sense of community, sitting around the campfire, cooking together, hiking together, portaging our canoes together, and recognizing that that community is what sustains you and is vital. The second lesson is that we have the skills to survive COVID-19 pandemic. And I say that truthfully as myself, as I moved during the middle of a pandemic from Canada back to my home state of New York. One of the first things I did was to remind myself of the healing properties of nature, and that for both my mental and physical health, it was important that I get outside and connect with the rivers, the trees. So please help us build a community of sustainability for our children.
I just put like words that I kind of like, things that I learned at my, like, you know, with my time at Christodora and stuff. So like the first one is caring, the second one is happy. Then there's respect. Sorry, I was like, then the I met a lot of people that, you know, like they're intellectuals, and that's kind of what I put there. Then for S, secure, T, transformed, because when I started Christodora, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a horrible student. I was really bad. I did not want to be there. And then afterwards, I transformed, and now it's like, you know, I learned a lot, and I feel a lot better about my experience. For O, I put optimistic, because that's another thing. At the beginning, I was always so negative, and then towards the end, I was always taught, like, you know, be positive about things, so that helped. Then the D, determined. I used to doubt my answers a lot every time, so like I wouldn't speak. And then at some point, it was like, okay, just say it. Like, you never know if you're right or wrong. So it's kind of like, you know. Then the other O, I put outgoing. I grew, so, you know, I spoke a lot more. Then the other R, responsible. I had to learn to be responsible because I was always late my first semester. But then I started going early, so. And then the last, you know, A, amicable, which if y'all know what that means, it's like basically like a sign of friendship and stuff. So, I made friends, and I was happy being there. So that's kind of what I did. And then there's another part to it, so I'm gonna flip it. Hold on.
Oh, cool.
Wait. Okay, so you open it up like this, right? It just says to you guys, whatever. Wait a second. And then on this part, when you open it, it'll say, leaving Christodora doesn't mean leaving the memories. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. And for this, I'm grateful. I hope others can feel like this as well. And I said, goodbye, Christodora. It was fun. That's it.
Christodora taught me
the importance of taking yellow light risks,
leadership, and how leadership isn't a one-person thing, it's a collective.
One of my teachers, he told me that I was always talking about Manus and Christodora every time. And then he gave me the nickname of the Manus Queen.
The Manus, okay. There was one time at Manus when I did my first time doing session 5. Yeah. We had to take a day where we had to sit out in the forest for an hour by ourselves inside the complete silence of nature. And me being as impatient as I am, by the first 5 minutes, I was already walking around. And then it took another 10 minutes for me to actually sit there and just enjoy what was going on. And I was like, you know what, Stefan? You can do this. You can do this. You're just being impatient. So I've realized past that day in my life, there has been a bunch of times when I have said that to myself, but I realized I never told myself that until that day in that session 5.
So I feel like when we went camping or when we're packing our bags, it has to be organized. And ever since then, I've just been more organized. And I think that helped a lot planning for school and homework and to stay positive as much as you can. So that's what really helped.
For me, Christodora has always been about family especially throughout this year, 2020, where life seemed to throw so many curveballs at us. I'm appreciative that we've all been able to stick together as a family throughout these last several months, and that we've all been here for each other these weekends to share time and share our experiences and just continue to grow together and be a family together.
Good evening. I'm Judy Rivkin, Executive Director of Christodora. Wasn't it great to see those pictures of kids at camp at the beginning? Don't we all wish we could be there? But thank you so much for camping in with us tonight. Big thanks to our co-chairs, Cara and Hunter, who put a huge amount of work into this, and to all of our host committee and board members who really stepped up. And of course, big thanks to our celebrity guests tonight who've lent their great talents and time, John Leguizamo and Judge Reinhold. I'm now pleased to introduce our tribute to MS 118, also known as Junior High School, the William H. Niles School in the Bronx. They were the first school who invited us into their classrooms to collaborate with their science program almost 30 years ago. And since then, we've been able to serve about 9,000 students. Tonight, you're going to see the amazing long-term impact of this great partnership with those dedicated frontline teachers and administrators. Thank you.
Hey y'all, I'm Damian Washington, an alum of MS 118, the Manus Education Center, and many other Christodora programs. And these days, I'm lucky enough to be a Christodora board member. You know, I'm still friends with a few folks from my times at 118 to this day. Like this shot is of me and my pal V, and on the top is us at the 118 prom sometime in 1992 or 93, and on the bottom is us hanging out having breakfast in April of 2019. And the good times that we have, and also the work and the learning that we do at 118 and with Christodora programs help shape our character and open up a whole new world of experiences to young people in New York City. The teachers get really involved and go the extra mile to work with parents and really help their family get their kids into these programs, because they know that the kids are bonding with each other and making memories. Like, I didn't know what the woolly adelgid was before Christodora, or why you shouldn't waste food outside of economic reasons. Or if you're in the woods and you really gotta go and you don't have any TP, just find a striped maple tree and you'll be all right. And you'll know how to identify a striped maple in the first place, so you don't have a whole nother problem on your hands. At 118 provide incredible support and really are the frontline essential workers that can't go away. Like if the kids can't enjoy the camp or the after school experiences as usual these days, they need something to look forward to as things normalize. And you're the people to help them do it.
MS 118 is a Title I school in the Bronx. We are in a very low-income neighborhood, and our students don't always have the opportunities that the other students have that go to schools with more resources. And Christodora has provided an opportunity for our students to literally touch science. So whether it's the Winter Ecology program, where they work with every single one of our 360 or so sixth graders, whether those students are general education, special education, limited English proficiency, they work with all of our students in the Winter Ecology program, or it's the students that get to go to Manus and have that wonderful 3-night experience of, again, touching and feeling science and nature. And I have students that come back to the school after they graduate, and one of the things they always talk to me about is that experience, the experience they have at the overnight trip in Manus. And I think, as many of you may know, some of our students even go on to continue that relationship with Christodora after middle school through high school and beyond.
The first time I'd really been outside, especially on my own, and I think Emily and Andrew were actually instrumental in convincing my very overprotective mom to let me do that stuff. And then it really snowballed. I kept going summer after summer. There's like an addictive quality to being outside, right? Especially when you're coming from the South Bronx. Honestly, you know, I went to college and became a geologist, but a large part of why I felt comfortable being a geologist was because I was comfortable being outdoors because of Christodora. Otherwise, there's this huge barrier to being a geologist that a lot of people of color don't get over. Now I'm a assistant professor at Wellesley College in geosciences.
Christodora has been bringing my classroom alive for the past 5 years by facilitating fun and exciting labs pertaining to adaptation, evolution, and conservation of resources. One of the labs that my students thoroughly enjoy is the owl pellet dissection lab. Through the dissection, they can actually see the bones of different mammals that the owls have ingested. So they find this very interesting. This is important because it forces students to think like detectives, therefore thinking like scientists, and ultimately this enhances their critical thinking skills. I love bringing my students on the 3-day camping trip at the Mannes Education Center in Massachusetts. Many of my students have never ventured out of the city. This experience broadens their perspective of the world as they participate in different activities such as hiking, canoeing, gardening, activities that they would otherwise not have the opportunity to do if it weren't for Christodora. So I just want to say thank you, Christodora.
Wow. Just had to get a drink of water. Wow, all these success stories is incredible. I mean, I just feel like I'm not used to such good news in one place anymore, right? Doesn't it feel so great? I mean, in these dark times, to see such beautiful things happening, and we have to help them keep happening. That's why you got to give, and give what you can. It's enough. Okay? Because Christodora is like an oasis of positivity, an island of optimism. And Christodora students always talk about how they carry what they've learned back into their lives, because it's not just a camp. It is so much more. And these kids, even when they get back home, the kids become more helpful. They become they help their families recycle. They continue to keep a positive attitude. They leave wanting to be productive and serve their communities. And many alum go into careers in science and outdoor education. How about that? That's how well this program works. And Christodora's big takeaway is that it helps these kids find their voice so they can find the courage to speak up. And my being a child of color, I can't emphasize this, how this boost really helps you, because you grow up not seeing yourself on television or in the movies or positively in the news or in books, and you don't realize that your voice counts, that your voice matters. And Christodora is that boost that we need. So we're counting on you, okay? We're counting on you to go inside your wallet and give as much or as little as you can, because it all helps. And they found that Christodora has a ripple effect. Yes, a ripple effect, because the kids do end up staying involved throughout their lives. But school budgets, they're being slashed at an alarming rate. Extra programs like this are at risk. So we need your help. We need your donation that Christodora can keep the ball rolling in 20 schools, like MS 118. It's our longest collaborator, where Christodora even reaches the students' families. How about that? And we aim to keep this positivity going on. All you have to do is text 41444 with the message campin', no G, because we're cool. Then type in the amount of your gift, $100 or $1,000, and your name. So come on, pick up your phone and pretend you're calling a friend, but enter 41444 and type campin', and you're on your way. Or you can go to the website www.christodora.org. That's www.christodora.org, and you will see a donation link. And donate anywhere from $10,000 to sponsor a whole school, and you will get a personal update from the whole school. I promise you that. I guarantee that. Or donate $5,000 to develop a new virtual program, a virtual curriculum. There's so much creativity going up in this place, I'm telling you, people. So you can also donate $150. If that's all you can do, provide supply packs to students for home use so they can do fun activities online, like with this Cracker Jack staff. They can do from cooking healthy snacks to science to art projects. Now you're probably wondering, virtual learning, I mean, how is that any fun, right? How is that fun? But we're going to take a look at that right after our campfire story from one of my favorite actors out there, super funny Judge Reinhold. Hit it, Matt.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to my segment of the Christodora virtual reality extravaganza. One of the things I've been doing during our quarantine is finally chronicling some of the outrageous stories I've been telling my friends throughout the years, and so I'm going to share one of them with you. Appropriately, it does take place in the natural world. It's called The Perfect Night, and it is a true story, I can assure you. It was the kind of night you dream about. The filming in Thailand was over. Now I was recovering in Tahiti. Yes, I knew how lucky I was. An unearthly moon, so large it seemed like a set designer had created it, rose out of the ocean into a star-filled South Pacific sky. I watched the rich amber orb shine its golden light across the water. I laughed with joy as I watched the shimmering light race toward shore on the back of gentle waves, then illuminate the beach where I walked. I asked myself, what is lacking here? Nothing, the answer was. Awestruck, I looked up at a dome of unfamiliar stars. The Southern Cross shone with a peaceful assurance in the midst of such infinite uncertainty. A tender tropical breeze billowed my perfect white linen evening shirt and pants. The tops of tall palm trees swayed gracefully, shimmering in the moonlight like the headdresses of Vegas showgirls. I inhabited a perfect world. The beauty calmed my weary, complex inner monologue. Looking down at the golden tide lapping around my feet, I suddenly heard a soft flapping of large wings. What kind of bird makes that sound, I wondered. Something came over me. What had just happened? Lifting my hands to the top of my head, I felt large, wet globs. I touched my arms and my perfect white linen shirt and pants, discovering thick black goop. Taking a breath, I choked on the smell of dead fish. A giant bird had covered me from the top of my head to my feet in tarry, dead fish smelling crap. This was no random plop from a chuckling pigeon in the park. This was a bombing raid. The globs sat warm in my hair, on my face, on my arms. Horrified, all I could think of was to run into the water. I remembered the Polynesian locals warning that the sharks came close to feed at night. The sea that had glistened in gold suddenly turned dark and ominous. No matter the atrocious smell of crapped dead fish would now make me a shark's California roll. What? No matter my ass! As soon as the Jaws theme hit, I quickly stumbled back onto shore. No one could have looked less like Halle Berry emerging from the sea. I got my bearings and turned my dead fish-smelling back on my friends who were waiting for me in an open-air Tahitian restaurant down the beach. I began walking back to my perfectly thatched hut, held high above the water by stilts. My white shirt and pants, drenched and stinking, clung to my body. I passed a couple dressed in their perfect white linen clothes, arms entwined. I straightened, assuming a ludicrous dignity. I smiled and said, "Good evening." The woman gasped, shielding her nose and mouth with her hand. I could see I had thrown a bizarre, incongruous wrench into their perfect evening, just as a large, laughing bird had ruined mine. Through the stench and humiliation, I had enough clarity to think that though life has its moments, it was never intended to be perfect.
This is a birding series where you'll be able to discover birds by sight and sound all throughout New York City, but more specifically during this quarantine. Come join the journey with me.
But I'm pretty excited. We're gonna try a couple of different things to try to get you in the pond virtually. I've got here a plastic bin. I've also got my net. We're gonna see what I can find.
Was gardening with my sister. I had learned something new.
Show your.
Oh, these are amazing. And
Who's this? Shiloh, nice.
Y'all are really talented.
Yeah, these are really
nice.
good.
Freshwater, of course, does something that the ocean doesn't do. What does freshwater do that the ocean doesn't do? Yeah, Alex.
It freezes over, or at least smaller bodies of water freeze over.
Exactly. Smaller bodies of water freeze over.
Poison ivy.
Wow, okay, that was really good.
Nice. That was really good.
Okay, the next bird
Wait, I
is.
can see it. My chat is in the way. That's a brown-headed cowbird. That's a parasitic bird.
Oh, easy.
So Christodora has taught me a lot about nature and stuff, and even like it's how beautiful it is, but also how creepy it is. But also, I like the creepy part of it. So I came up with this during quarantine.
What? Okay.
There are these mushroom characters I created.
Yes, 2 more minutes. Come on. Who's got the move?
This vine can be found in New York City, and it could be red and glossy. Name this vine. Poison ivy. Remember the rule. Leaves of 3, you let it be. Poison ivy.
And that's a wrap, people. Cue the outro music.
Do you see these kids are expressing the hell out of themselves so beautifully? Who would have thunk, right? These kids are really engaged. And the miracle is that they really are connecting online. And I just want to update you. The thermometer is at $189,000. People, thank you. Thank you so much. It means a lot to everyone here. The goal tonight, though, is $225,000. If you can just donate anything you can, even if it's $50, you can provide PPE for kids so they can go outside with Christodora as soon as possible. And Christodora works. I mean, this program is important because it really works, and I should know because it happened to me for real. No. Because when I was a kid, I was a punk. I was such a punk and I had good reason because life was tough. I grew up in the city, really rough. And because I had to deal with constantly moving. We had no money, white flight, girl trouble, beatings at home and on the street. So, my life sucked. And on top of that, we were the poorest of the poor. We were so poor, ghetto was a step up. That's how poor we were. And my mom was a single mom with 2 boys, right? She was working her ass off, trying to stay ahead of the creditors. And she'd had a full-time job, a part-time job, a side hustle, Avon lady on the weekends. You may not even know what Avon is anymore. I'm older than all of you. And my mother, she was mother, father, uncle, aunt, cousin, el tío, la abuela, el primo, el fulanito, el tal cual. But when we go shopping, that was the worst. That's when we knew we were really poor because my mom would take us to these mega, super giant discount outlets with the bargain basement bins of factory reject stuff in the basement. Do you remember those? Maze and Robbins? Maybe you didn't go there. I used to end up with 2 irregular sneakers, 2 different sizes each, and both lefties. That's why I was always late for school because I was walking in circles with my two left shoes. And then eventually we get some sweaters that were irregular with no holes for the arm. So I was like a freak. I was like the Quasimodo of Jackson Heights. I'm not a monster. I'm a human being. And finally, my parents would so often, very infrequently, but so often, my parents would plan these countryside excursions to get my ghetto ass out. And they pack these sandwiches that my brother would eat before he even left the city. My mom would pack her giant ass maps that would help us get lost even faster. And my father would be yelling at all of us, que ustedes no sirven para nada, ¿para qué carajo salgo con todos ustedes? It was your typical family outing, right? Your typical road trip experience. But finally we get to the Berkshires, coincidentally. And now I grew up in the streets, so I knew, I felt like I'd heard and seen everything. But when I got to the forest, I was scared as hell. I mean, the bugs, the amount of bugs, the variety of bugs freaked me out. Even though I'd grown up with roaches as big as cats, this terrified me. And the owls bugged me out. Even though I'd grown up with pigeons and rats, seeing them on the subway track going to school. But finally, There were so many sounds, and then finally everything slowed down in me. And I started noticing the beautiful things. I could hear my own thoughts. When I spoke out loud, I could hear my voice echo through the forest. I looked up, I could see every single star. And that's when I realized, because my brother and I grew up thinking that, it was us against the world. But here in the wilderness, it finally felt like we were part of it. Being in nature, I don't know, it kind of softened me, and it gave me hope, and it showed me that a world that was much kinder and more accepting. Now, when I was a kid, of course, I didn't think much about these outings. I didn't really take them that seriously. But then when I got older, something happens to you. And it's imperceptible to you at the time. But that's why this quote by Kurt Vonnegut hit me so hard. And Kurt said, "Enjoy the little things in life, because when you get older, you'll realize that those were the big things." And Christodora understands the little things and the big things. Lots of people want to serve the public schools, and they talk about helping the students out, but Christodora really does. These guys are important. We got to support our teachers and our students. So please donate now. And what are we at right now, Matt?
201.
$201,000, people. We're just $24,000 short. Come on, whip out that checkbook, dig into that pocket, find those coins. Apple Pay us, Venmo us. We know how to use all those systems. All right, throw it back to you, Matt.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Robert Michelin, and I'm the principal at Gotham Professional Arts Academy in Brooklyn, New York. I'm grateful in that over 20 years ago, fall of 1998, I was blessed to head up to Manus and complete their leadership training program as a student at Brooklyn Technical High School. It was a formative experience, and I take it with me as many places as I go. And in the fall of 2018, my first year as principal at Gotham Professional Arts Academy, by happenstance, I reconnected with Christodora and Manus and offered that same experience to some of my more challenging students with respect to adhering to and internalizing core values. And what I found after we took students up was that they came back with a different sense of self, different and renewed awareness of the world around them, and new ways of thinking about how they wanted to be treated and how they wanted to treat other people. And I wasn't surprised. These are the same things that I came back with as a student, and I'm so grateful that Manus and Christodora were able to help the Gotham community continue to shape their young minds and shape the ways in which they navigate the world. I look forward to collaborating with Christodora moving forward as we find ways to get this right in the current climate. And I thank you, friends, family, donors, funders, for all of the things that you will do to allow my community, Gotham Professional Arts Academy, and others to thrive and grow in these ways.
Thank you for supporting multiple generations of MS-119 students and allowing us the chance to develop lifelong loves for nature and learning.
Thank you for helping me with nature.
Thank you to the Christodora family for allowing me to grow as a person, but also to have so many experiences for me to learn about nature and science. I'm truly grateful for my experience, and I hope that others can also learn just like I did.
To the donors, thank you for your continued support for the Christodora Foundation.
I'm gonna give a countdown from 5, 4. All right, everyone smile. 3, 2, cheese. All right, I think that one came out good. Cool. All right, everyone, thank you. Stay in touch. We'll be in touch with everyone as well. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Have a good Saturday. Appreciate you all. Peace.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your summer.
You too. Bye. Bye, everyone. It has been fun. It has been.
So you see, you got proof right there that this program really works. We've reached $206,000, people. 206. We just need to get to 225. I know you can do it. I believe in you. Do what you can. Ask yourselves, how much can you give? To give as little as much as you can. It all helps. And Dr. Seuss once said, adults are just expired children. So don't let these children expire before their time. I hope you've been as inspired by these testimonials and Campfire Stories as much as I have. Christodora is so rich in excellence. They are so good at what they do, but we can do more. They know they can do more, but for them to do more, they need more. They need more money, more donations. So please do what you can. And don't forget, gossip is nature's telephone, so spread the word. Follow Christodora on Facebook and Instagram. Sign up for the mailing list and tell your friends, your associates, your acquaintances, bug them, annoy them, but help them donate, okay? And you can make a difference in these kids' lives. So thank you and good night. And as Harriet Tubman once said, keep going. Now I'm going to the beach to wash off the corona in case there was any. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for donating. See you next time.